Welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a tab repair just to show you guys how it's done. You're going to see an up close and personal. I'll walk you through, and after this you all should be able to know how to weld. You'll see the magic happening. All right. So obviously with this tab there's nothing really wrong with it besides the fact that it's really weak and it can bend over really easily. It's part of the reason I'm fixing it right now. I'm going to go a little extreme just to show everybody how easy it is to actually fix. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove this piece. I know why, right? So we can make it new. That's why. I'm going to start off putting some metal tape down. This will give us a base to weld off of. You can put as many pieces down as you want that makes you feel comfortable. All right, the more metal tape you put down, the stronger of the little tray that you have there. What I'm going to use to support it is this little piece right here, this little guy, and all I'll do is I'll just wrap the metal tape around back side behind it. And I'll use a couple of these alligator clips to just kind of clip it in place. So now we're supported. So now we have a lot harder shelf to build off of. All right? Need a piece of plastic, a little plastic welding rod. I got a small old right there. I'm going to be using my torch welder right here for today, the very small one. That whistle is always a good sound. It means the thing's turning on. Oh yeah, nice and hot. So the first thing we want to do is we want to, if we don't have this old piece, we want to kind of get a good idea of how far out it's going to go. And if we don't have the piece, we can just look at one of the other pieces down the side, down here, like over on the other side or to the other side of it over there, right? But the reality is we have this piece, so we could do one of two things. In this situation in real life, if you have the piece, it makes it a lot more simple. All we would do is just weld a bead, right? We weld a bead here, we weld a bead there, and it's gonna hold. We can weld it from both sides. If we don't have the piece, this is my actual favorite part, we're going to recreate it. So we took an idea of how far up it's gonna go. We're gonna kind of follow the same path. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start down a little bit farther down into the surface, somewhere where I can get a good bite on. I want to make sure that my heat is right at that point where it's melting, where it's joining with the other material. And I'm just going to spin it as I roll it. And what this spinning technique does is it lays material down consistently and evenly without putting a lot of downwards force like traditional welding requires. This allows you to really get intricate welding done without deforming the area. As you can see, I'm able to weld on this small little piece of metal tape without it pushing down or deforming the metal tape itself. All right. And I ask, why do I spin the weld when I'm doing this? Well, like I just said, for one, it allows me to roll material down as I want it and not just push it down. Traditional welding is just straight downwards force, right? And you allow the heat to collapse it whatever way you're going. With this, that doesn't really give us the control we're looking for. Right? And so I'm going to come back through and I'm going to do another bead around here, but I'm going to do it a little bit differently this time. I'm going to start in here, get it attaching, and then I'm going to weld a bead on the inside of the original bead I just welded, pushing outwards. So my force is going to be pushing outwards towards my body, essentially. I'm trying to make sure that I don't get a lot of material on the inside of that, not too much. It's okay. The idea is to make that part strong. That's the first place where any kind of resistance is going to hit it. So we just want to make sure that where we put the weld, it's going to stick. Now we've laid that down, but now the weld is a little hot. So I'm just going to stop. I'm going to grab my little blower, all right, my little wolf box. I'm going to give it a cool off. We're not cooling it off all the way, folks. We're just doing a little bit, just enough to give me a hard surface. Now I'm going to do one more weld on here. I'm going to do a perimeter weld around the outside. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to kind of come up all the way around here. All right. We don't want to add too much down in through here, right? So that original, we don't want to add to it. But if you can see here, from the original to the base, or to our new plastic, it dips in a little bit. So now we can weld just along the inside here, and then we'll shape it with our irons. Torch back on. This is what I like about using the torch, is it doesn't take 10 minutes to heat them up. Question somebody asked me just recently, how do I know which way to spin the welding rod? Well, it just kind of depends on how the weld is actually playing out for you. Cools off and it stops smoking. It's perfect. So I'm happy with that. Next, I'm going to get my handy dandy melting spade. We use my smaller 2 MAP gas torches because that's just what I have out right now to heat this up. Again, you always want to be doing this in a well ventilated area, somewhere where you're not breathing this in. If you have the ability to get a respirator, that is the proper safety for this. Wearing an actual vapor canister respirator is the way you want to go. That'll protect you from all this smoke that's kind of coming off. It's not a lot, but you don't want to be breathing this stuff in every day, day in and day out. You can see, get that nice and red. You can see we've already really gotten the shape down to about where we want it. Even the sides are pretty consistent, pretty even. Top here. Now the only thing that's not is the inside. Now all the plastic, as we smoothed it down, it kind of pushed into the inside. It pushed to the inside and it kind of filled up that hole a bit. So how do we fix that? We grab a different melting tool. I like this one right here. It's got a nice little spoon to it. Now that we have that, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my tool and I'm going to move it up. I'm going to move it out. I'm going to move it out. And I'm going to drop down here. Alright. That gives me the square again. And just kind of starts the inside of it. Melting it all off. There you go. There's a re-welded tab. The only thing that's left to do at this point is to weld the back to make sure that you don't have any weak points. Can I tell you guys a little secret? It's pretty strong without welding the back. I can do some pretty hardcore flexing on it without even welding the back. When you do the torch welding, it's legit. Thanks for watching.